But today we have a very important show for you. Alam niyo po mga kababayan, it's so important that we are informed, especially in the political landscape of America, because Filipinos are thriving and need to get involved, especially this June 7th. It's the presidential primary election. Kaya kasama natin ngayong araw na ito si Jason Tengco. He has served as the National Asian American and Pacific Islander, or AAPI, Outreach Director for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign currently. He previously served as the Deputy Director of the White House Initiative on AAPIs. He was born and raised in San Francisco Bay Area. And Jason is a proud UCLA alum. Go Bruins! Jason, let's first get started on you being here for this campaign trail. This is historic that a Filipino American is in this position. How does that feel?
Thank you. It feels great. I mean, it's such an honor to, represent our community. There actually have been a few other Filipino Americans involved in, in serving in the AAPI director role in the past, but I think it is just great because, we're representing for the community.
Yes, and not only that, you are getting to work with someone who's running for President of America.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's huge. I mean, it's so great, and it's just such a great job being able to talk to Asian American, Pacific Islander, and including Filipino American voters across the country, just talking really about why Hillary is the best candidate, for the AAPI community, her tremendous just track record, her leadership as, Senator from New York, as Secretary of State, traveling the world. It's a really, really a great opportunity.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of the politics of it all, let's start out with growing up in America.
Yeah.
So you're from the Bay Area. Where are your parents from in the Philippines?
Yeah, so my dad's from Nueva Vizcaya. My mom's from Metro Manila.
Okay.
I've been to the Philippines 3 times now in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how has that experience sort of shaped who you are today?
Yeah, growing up Filipino American in the San Francisco Bay Area, I grew up with a lot of kind of wealthier, more Caucasian individuals. So I was never really kind of proud to be Filipino American. If anything, I was almost ashamed. There's a part of my life where I was frankly ashamed to be Filipino American. And, I used papaya soap to lighten my skin.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I wore color contacts to make my eyes lighter. I only wore, a certain brand of clothing and everything just to really kind of fit in and assimilate with American culture. And, looking back after having visited the Philippines, getting involved, I feel like I've really kind of transformed from that person to who I am today.
Jason, that was quite an honest revelation. A lot of people, a lot of our youth are in the exact same spot that you were too. What is your message to them in terms of trying to find out what their place in this world, especially in America, being Filipino?
I think it really starts with having the conversation with your family. Having the conversation with your parents, your lolo, your lola, about, their journey from the Philippines to America. A lot of our parents don't necessarily tell that story right off the bat. Sometimes we have to ask. And I think just knowing that kind of history helps you better understand who you are, where you come from, what your culture heritage is. So I think that's really the first step, is, the quote, like, no history, no self.
That's right.
I think that's key. I think the second step for me was really just getting involved with other Filipino American students. We both went to UCLA. I was heavily involved with Samahang Filipino at UCLA, and that sort of cohort of second-generation Filipino Americans who had similar kind of backgrounds and struggles of not growing up, kind of understanding their Filipino heritage, being surrounded by those individuals and sharing our stories, I think really helped empower me.
Yes, I understand that a lot of students have this reawakening, right?
Yeah.
This pride that surges, especially in college, about what it means to be Filipino. But as a young Filipino kid, I grew up in New Jersey, out of all places. There was
really?
nobody brown on TV that looked like us, that were Filipino. So it's so important that we're representing at this stage. And especially with social media, we can do this now. We can cut out sort of the producer and the whole networking and create our own platforms. How have you used your platform in this position to really represent what it means to be Filipino in America?
Yeah. Well, I think it's an honor to be in this position because one, I have the opportunity to really make sure that Filipinos have a voice in the campaign. So, they're allowed to speak as representatives at events, or, we work with them to do direct outreach to other Filipino Americans. So just making sure that their voices are heard and that they're actually, represented in events and everything else like that. But also too, I think it also gives me the opportunity to really just share the story of the issues of Filipino Americans, why we care about the things that we care about. So for us, a lot of kind of second generation Filipino Americans, for our parents especially, like immigration reform is really important. Or our parents are always telling us to study hard. So why is education so important, to Filipino Americans? Or underscoring why like jobs in the economy, our parents are always like, oh, you should be a doctor, a nurse, or whatever.
Exactly, that's
But
exactly what I was gonna ask you is,
Yeah.
how did you get into politics? Why are you not a nurse, a doctor, an engineer? When we return on Kababayan Today, Jason's gonna tell us how he got down that path to being into politics. We'll be right back here on Kababayan Today.